guys, happy Friday. So sorry I didn't come on yesterday and talk about Beetlejuice. Thank you to those who messaged me and were like, what were your thoughts? Are you gonna tell us? Some of you may or may not know, my kids started back to school this week because we're on year round. And so this whole week has just been like trying to get on a schedule and focusing on that. And then we still have family in town. So we're still trying to have like summer break-ish, kind of, not really. So it's been a lot. But yeah, let's dive right into Beetlejuice. Okay, so let me tell you this. I went into it super skeptical. I was excited to be there, so don't get that twisted. I wanted to see the show. I was like thrilled to be Keisha's date. So like I just was very skeptical of all the hype the show got, and I never saw a public performance that made me be like, oh my God, that show looks amazing. Okay. So when they like performed on the Tonys and things like that, I just never like gravitated to it to be like, oh my God, this looks incredible. So let me just preface that. And a lot of times with these movie to musical type of shows, they just get like, I hate to be, sometimes the writing is lame and like the songs are not that great or whatever, you know, because it's like a jukebox musical. There's a few movie musicals that just haven't really been that great. I'll put it that way. So again, I was a little bit like, let's see what happens. Okay, so things I absolutely loved. Well, number one, the makeup. I have to do this show at some point. So I'm going to be contacting all my peeps and be like, okay, we need to do this show because the makeup was so cool, so much fun, so many characters. I honestly was watching all the makeup changes so intently. Like, yeah, costumes were so great. And the writing, the story was wonderful. It was hilarious. Like the lyrics, so funny. Again, the writing was hysterical. So like the show starts, it's bam, in your face. It's funny right off the bat. Beetlejuice is over the top hysterical, just over the top everything. I mean, it is the Beetlejuice you know and love. And that's actually one thing I really liked about the show was there was so many things familiar that if you are a diehard Beetlejuice fan, I really feel like this show will make you happy. They didn't make any changes that would be like, I don't think anyway. I'm sure maybe there's some diehard out there that doesn't like it, but I really do think that they did a great job with this one. And especially, like, let's compare it to Mean Girls, which was a newer movie musical. I really enjoyed Mean Girls. However, there was a lot of people who didn't like Mean Girls. For me, the script of Mean Girls, meh, but the music of Mean Girls, I loved. Now, Beetlejuice's music, I have a few thoughts. And again, when I say this, it has nothing to do with the performers. It has nothing to do with any of that. For me, all of the songs really sounded the same. So when I left the theater, there wasn't a song that was like stuck in my head or one that I could even like think about. Everything kind of sounded the same. It wasn't until Act 2 that I really kind of enjoyed a few of the songs. So how do I put it? I enjoyed all of the music. I loved all of the songs, just none of them stood out to me. There wasn't a song that I was like, oh, I want to play this in my car. And I even listened to the soundtrack the other day and it's good. It's a bop, but there's not really any songs that I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to this. Oh, I'm going to learn this song. And that's just me personally. And that's kind of just how I gravitate towards musicals. It's based on the music. And again, when I say this, it has nothing to do with the performers. It has nothing to do with any of that. For me, all of the songs really sounded the same. So when I left the theater, there wasn't a song that was like stuck in my head or one that I could even like think about. Everything kind of sounded the same. It wasn't until Act 2 that I really kind of enjoyed a few of the songs. So how do I put it? I enjoyed all of the music. I loved all of the songs, just none of them stood out to me. There wasn't a song that I was like, oh, I want to play this in my car. And And I even listened to the soundtrack the other day, and it's good. It's a bop, but there's not really any songs that I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to this. Oh, I'm going to learn this song. And that's just me personally, and that's kind of just how I gravitate towards musicals. It's based on the music. So when I'm saying all of this, none of this has to do with the performers that I saw. Everyone was excellent. But I have to say, overall, the music itself really seemed to blend together. And I didn't feel like there was any one sort of song that stood out to me. I really did enjoy Lydia, especially the girl in the cast that we saw who plays Lydia. She's 18, like incredible. Her voice is fantastic. And her songs were really, I just spilled coffee on myself. And her songs were really great. I don't know. I just personally did not like have a song that was like, oh my God, I love this song, or oh my God, I have to listen to this song. And that's different for me because music, especially in musicals, is so important. And that's how I fall in love with musicals, is really from the music. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I enjoyed it. So again, as a whole, I think the musical was fantastic. The music is fun, upbeat, very funny. I loved it. I loved everything about the show. For me personally, there wasn't like a song that I'm like, oh, I have to play this. And that's different for me. Usually there is at least a song that I'm like, oh my God. Act 2 I loved a lot. There was a couple songs in there that just really, kind of pumped you up and really brought it home. Honestly, my favorite thing was the special effects, the makeup, and the costumes. It was a magical show. It was a fun show. The amount of makeup changes that they do that was super cool to see. And again, I'm nerding out. So they had a huge makeup change during intermission. Then what they did was they put masks over so they didn't have to redo the makeup. And then they changed back into those characters. They did a wig change on stage. A wig change on stage? That's insane because so much could go wrong. I have so many questions. How many times have you guys rehearsed it? Has anything happened where it went wrong? And yeah, those are my questions. But like as soon as I realized they were doing the wig change, that's all I was looking at. And that they do it kind of behind so you can't really see them. And Beetlejuice has like a thing over his head. It's done very, very well. I was holding my breath the whole time because a wig change on stage, that is terrifying. So much can go wrong. And they did it perfectly. It was so good. I loved it. I loved it so much.